Greetings, Hempster. Thank you for tuning in to another Hemp episode of HempAware Radio, where we focus on what's most hemportant. Today's show is all about how to create lean muscle, hair, skin, nails, bones, and teeth with the power of hemp seed nutrition. So if you're wanting to increase your health and wellness and have a foundational nutrient for many types of meals, then you're really going to appreciate today's show all about hemp seed nutrition with Emily Hanna of Hanna Valley Protein. But before Emily and I dive into the show, I just want to make sure that you know that if you have a hemp website or a hemp product or brand and you want to get more traffic, leads, and sales, or if you're wanting to update your website and brand with results-driven design or implement a custom search engine optimization strategy, then reach out to us today on HempAware.com. Schedule that free discovery call, and we'd love to dive into your mission and vision and purpose and see how we can help accelerate that. We've got all sorts of great resources for hemp entrepreneurs and hemp companies to help them succeed online and avoid the failure of entering the hemp industry. So if you're ready, you can just schedule that call on HempAware.com, and we're happy to accelerate your growth. So I appreciate your awareness and tuning into this empowering conversation that I'm about to have with Emily. And I'm really excited about this because I feel like many hemp entrepreneurs are still struggling to find their niche, their position in the market, and really get into a success rhythm with their hemp products. You see, when I was a teenager, I had an experience that caused me to think very deeply about life, and I began asking deeper questions like, who am I, why am I here, and how can I create peace on earth? That was the big one for me. And at first I thought it was going to be through music because music is harmony, right? And why not create peace with harmony? But I quickly realized that if I'm going to make a difference on the planet, I also have to learn how to make a dollar. And making money playing music wasn't the easiest thing to do. And since making money in the world almost always requires the change in your pocket and bank accounts, I realized it was essential for me to develop my ability to sell. And so I dove into the books. I started going through trainings and courses from Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy, Napoleon Hill, and many other greats. And then one day, my grandmother brought home some hemp protein powder from the health food store. I was only about 17. I tried it, and that was when I discovered my calling, essentially. I knew that I wanted to be a hemp entrepreneur. As soon as I experienced what hemp protein was, I knew about hemp twine and a little bit about hemp fabrics. And so that's when I started reaching out to hemp companies around the world to provide sales services for them, because I knew that if I could help other hemp entrepreneurs and businesses make more sales, that would essentially mean we're getting more and more hemp products out to the people and creating a healthier, happier, more abundant world, and ultimately contributing to that tangible peace on earth that we all deserve. Because when you feel good in your body, you can be of greater service to others and more likely be in a better mood overall. And so that leads me right into our discussion today with Emily Hanna of Hanna Valley Protein. I'm so glad that you're able to join me on the show today, Emily, and really look forward to our conversation.
Yes, thank you, Tyler. I'm excited to be here.
Nice. So for those of our listeners that maybe haven't heard of Hanna Valley Protein, give us a little background on your area of expertise, maybe what you've studied throughout your life, and ultimately what led you up to working with hemp.
Sure. Well, I love your story and everything that led to it, and I can definitely relate to watching all the videos of all the greats. Jim Rohn, he's actually someone that I quote in a lot of my content because it's so powerful and so motivating. So I love that we share that. So my background is actually in education. I started out as a teacher teaching elementary. I continued my education, got my graduate degree in curriculum instruction, and moved into to working in the college world. And around 2015, I just had my daughter, and I became really, really ill to the point that I couldn't use my hands anymore. It hurt to walk. It was when the vision in my left eye started to go that I really began to panic. And I'd gone to several different doctors, different appointments, trying to find whatever was causing this, what was it? I was so desperate for a diagnosis, and nobody could pinpoint what was going on with my body. It was when my vision started to go that I was sent through to an ophthalmologist, which is where I found out that I actually had a tumor in my left eye. And that's also the day that I found out that I had lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. And that was a really dark time, but it's also almost a relief, because at least something, I was given some kind of answer, but it took about 3 months to get into a rheumatologist at that point, and I really didn't know that I'd make it that long. I was so desperate for any kind of relief. As I said, I had a new baby at home. I had a 2-year-old at home. My husband was on the road all the time, so it was just a really hard time. I ended up just delving into anything I could get my hands on. I started watching documentaries. Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead is the first one I watched, or What the Health. There were a lot of different things that just led me down this path to finding how powerful nutrition is. And I ended up going that route to healing from all of the things that I was dealing with at the time. And that one of the things that I started changing, we started changing all the things we use daily. That's what I focused on more, because it's so overwhelming. We changed our pots and pans over to cast iron. We changed our shampoos, conditioners. But one thing that my husband used every day was a protein powder. And so I was looking at the ingredients, and I just couldn't believe the stuff that was in there and what it all meant, right? We don't know what some of these words are. We can't even pronounce half of them. So I showed him, and he was not, I mean, he was supportive, but was not completely on board or convinced of the path that I was taking. And so he was willing to try something different. He said, okay, find me something else. And I went on a search to find a protein powder that had really clean ingredients, but also that didn't have a lot of the things in like natural flavors. A lot of them have stevia, things like that, which to some people are okay. But for where I was at, I couldn't have those things. And they mean more than just what they say on the ingredient list. So I started creating my own blends. I tried some really nasty stuff. I was convinced I could use lentils, but my husband went through it for his smoothies. And then I decided to stop focusing so much on the protein and focus more on what my family could benefit from. And hemp was one of the major ingredients that I became interested in. One, for just so many reasons. As you know, the high omega-3s, 6s, I have little kids for the brain development, brain health. It also has all 9 amino acids, which is a complete protein, which is difficult to get, especially in a plant-based protein. Just all of the things. So it's the main ingredient in our protein powders today. We used them for about 3 years on our own before we started bringing it to a market, because friends and family were interested. So it was an exciting journey.
Yeah. So it started out with this incredible health journey and going through the whole diagnosis process, finding, a solution, or ultimately finding the problem first. You couldn't figure out where all the pain was coming from. And then with your eye, just the vision going, and all the doctors couldn't figure it out. You pretty much took your health into your own hands, which I like to call self-care. It's the greatest healthcare I think anyone can ever invest in is self-care, and really understanding what's coming in and out of the 9 holes of our body. We've got 9 holes, our 2 eyes, nose, mouth. You can figure out the rest. But what comes in and out of those is so important. And, what goes into our mouth, there is a Bible phrase or saying that, or passage, I guess you could say, quote, it's not what goes into a man's mouth that defiles him, but what comes out. However, I think there's ultimately some truth to what's going in, because it's like you can't take a jet and put, fuel that you would put in a Volkswagen into a huge jet. You have to have jet fuel. It has to burn clean. And so I think it's the same with our food. If it's high quality food, it's going to burn cleaner. There's not going to be as much waste byproducts. It's going to be easier to process. And I totally agree that hemp is, in my opinion, the pinnacle of a plant-based protein source. And so you discovered this hemp. You worked with it for 3 years. You obviously have improved your health and the family, the health of your family. And there must have been a moment where you thought, wow, this is working. I like this hemp protein. And what was that moment for you where you were like, I'm going to make a business out of this? Like, maybe tell me that process or how that came about.
Actually, that's funny. I never in a million years would I think that this is what I would end up doing, but I absolutely love it. And I believe wholeheartedly it's where I'm meant to be. Throughout my process of healing, my faith was a major aspect of it. And so I normally don't keep journals or prayer journals, but during this time I did. And I'm so grateful I did, because as every single day I prayed that I would be healed, which I knew I would. I didn't doubt that, but that I would also be able to use it to somehow, all the things I was learning, be able to help others and also be able to support my family. And I didn't know what that was going to look like, but I believed it was going to happen. And so as I continued on, I was searching for things. I didn't want to make something out of nothing, but I was trying to have discernment and try to see what things to follow and whatnot. So I just kept doing what I felt was best for my family, for us growing. And then it was one day my husband was drinking another smoothie, and he said, man, Emily, if you can make me a believer of this stuff, he's like, I feel like you can make anybody a believer. He's like, I feel better than I ever have. And he's a big weightlifting muscle guy, and so that was hard. That's really a hard transition when you're used to, the big giant red containers with all of and to each their own, but he was mainly focused on whey. And when I helped him understand like where inflammation comes from and muscle recovery and just the science behind all of it, it was really interesting. And so we started 1 year at the Des Moines Farmers Market. We're from Iowa. And I just wanted to see if it would go. I remember I had a giant pot with a spoon and I was putting my recipe together, and I was just thinking, there's no way, like, how will I ever do this? And I did it, and we kept going. And that summer was so successful. I had nothing to compare it to, but for me, it was really successful, and that was summer of 2019. And so that's when I decided, okay, I really think that this could be something. And we were licensed in January of 2020 to sell retail and in a commercial kitchen space.
Awesome. So it kind of just, you were following those breadcrumbs. I mean, it started with this health challenge, and just slowly, one step at a time, led to you ultimately creating a product line and getting it in front of people and having them experience the benefits. So tell us a little bit more about the actual products that you have, maybe like your ingredients and what some of your customers are using your products for.
Sure, absolutely. So at this time we have 3 main flavors that we keep around, which is chocolate, vanilla, and cinnamon. We also do our seasonal flavors. So we just finished up with our pumpkin spice. We did an apple cinnamon this year. We have a new one that I'm working on. Hopefully we'll be able to get to come out in January, but I can't tell what that is. You'll have to follow me to look for that. We also have protein granola, which was an accident, how that came to be. So that is flavored with our chocolate protein powder that we make. And we also have a protein hot chocolate that we do through the winter time.
Oh, cool. So as far as how these protein formulas are being used, would you say most of your customers are doing like smoothies and baked goods, or tell us a little bit more about maybe like how it would be used in a recipe?
Sure. It can be added to anything, really. I use it to make black bean brownies. My husband uses it in smoothies. I sprinkle it in oatmeal, yogurt. I bake with it. It's so versatile. You can use it in so many ways. Along with hemp is our main ingredient, but all of our protein products are 5 whole food ingredients. So it's hemp seed, pumpkin seed, flax seed, a little coconut sugar, and for our chocolate, it would be cacao powder. We use cinnamon for cinnamon and so forth.
Nice. So are there, obviously there's great benefit being that hemp is plant-based. It's a sustainable crop. It doesn't need pesticides or herbicides. It's a very clean source of nutrition. Are there any contraindications or anything that you've discovered about hemp nutrition that people might need to be aware of, or maybe any people with sensitivities, or have you come across anything like that regarding hemp nutrition?
I really haven't. A lot of times people will come to me and they'll tell me, oh, protein powders really mess with my stomach, or this or that, that they can't do it because they don't feel good after it. And I said, the protein industry is not really regulated. So the things that are in it doesn't mean that's what's best for your body just because people consider it a health product. And so I haven't had anyone have issues with any of our products in that way. I know that the fiber in hemp and in the other ingredients has really been helpful for digestion. I've really only had positive feedback from that. Our products are not very sweet. We use a very small amount of coconut sugar. So I'd say the main thing I would say to customers that are just trying it or that are used to sweeter things, to add a drop of maple syrup or honey or whatever sweetener of choice if you're used to that.
Right. For sure. So as far as maybe a fun fact about hemp, whether it's the hemp plant or hemp seed nutrition in general, do you have any fun facts, or just like when you learned about hemp, you were like, wow, this is a reality? Like, how come more people don't know about this? Is there a fun fact that you could share with us or two?
So fun, I don't know that I have a fun fact, but I do know the thing that led me to it first was the nutritional information, like I was saying, because my kids use it every day for breakfast. We use it as a whole family. But also, like you were saying, like the growing practices, the fact that it's sustainable, that's really important to me. We use a very minimal packaging for what we use now with our products, and we have the goal of being zero waste, and some of our retailers do support that, and they sell it in the bulk bin. So overall, I feel like hemp is just a more sustainable product in any way we can, have a better impact on our environment. Why not? The natural pest repellent, we do use organic ingredients for all of ours, but as a whole, hemp is such a safer ingredient because of how it's grown, and it grows so much faster than the weeds and things like that, so it doesn't need the repellents and so forth like a lot of other things do.
Exactly. Yeah, and obviously, there's other nutrients, other plants, other materials and resources that we can benefit from. It's not like we're trying to say hemp is the only thing you need, because obviously it's good to get a versatile diet and multiple, different types of nutrients. But it's definitely been shown that hemp is completely safe as a daily source of, your essential fatty acids and protein and fiber. And one cool thing that I've learned over the years, I would definitely ask that people, do their own research and find out what the benefits and realities of what hemp is and the nutrients that are within the seeds. But one, as you mentioned, it has all 9 essential amino acids, which are the building blocks of life. And one of those amino acids or protein structures is known as edestin or edestine, however you want to pronounce it. And what I've learned is that the word edible, like when something's edible, it has that word edestin and edible have the same origin or etymology, the same root. And so I sort of surmised, and I would definitely want to refer to other nutritionists or professionals in this industry, but something that's high in edestin is very digestible. And so when you eat foods that have edestin in it, it actually can help as a digestive aid with whatever you're putting that with. So I love that, you're providing a product that can be mixed with other foods, which will ultimately make those foods more digestible. So that was like a little fun fact I kind of discovered on my own, just researching the amino acids in hemp and the origin of words. I love words. So
I love that. I didn't know that. I learned something new today.
Yeah. So kind of shifting gears, I appreciate your insights on, the nutritional side of things, but now kind of going into more of the hemp-entrepreneurial side of your story. What would you say are some of the most, difficult challenges that you've had to face as a hemp-based company, and how have you been able to overcome some of those challenges?
So I think just from the beginning, it was unknown territory for me in the first place. As I said, my background was in education, but the business aspect of things in general, I had taken a class in Nebraska trying to learn how to create a product, and it really was defeating because of the financial, how much I thought it was going to take to be able to move forward. And I'm just want to say that to anybody that's starting a business, and hemp or not, but specifically hemp, there are different ways to do it. There's no black and white, one map way that you need to create a product or whatever it is that you're bringing to the market. And don't let that hold you back from moving forward. Now, hemp itself, I haven't had an issue with any regulations or things like that at this point. And I don't foresee there being an issue as it comes up or as it arises. I'm doing everything by the book and everything the right way, so I feel confident in the products that we're creating and whatever might come because of that. But overall, I think what stops us more is just our own minds and what limits we put on ourselves, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. And being, hemp nutrition, I would say, is a lot less regulatory issues. You're not farming the hemp yourself, so you're not having to deal with licensing, farms or
right.
A whole processing facility that's, taking the field to product. Like you're able to just source your ingredients and develop your own formula and bring that to the market. And I will say, of all the products, hemp-based products that are on the market, hemp protein powder, I think, is the furthest along, or I would say hemp seed nutrition, because of what Canada and other countries have done to lay the groundwork and really, allow those regulations to go through to bring hemp as a nutritional source. So, for many years, I was working with only Canadian hemp companies to source hemp seed nutrition, and so they definitely did a lot of work, and I think got rid of a lot of the stigma. And so now, you can literally go into any grocery store. It doesn't even have to be a health food store. And you're going to find hemp seeds or hemp seed hearts or hemp seed oil or hemp protein. And so I totally agree. I think, if you are considering developing a hemp food product, now is the time. Don't be worried about the other people that are in the market already, because if there are people selling hemp food products, that means that it's working. There's a market. So a lot of times people get afraid and think, oh, there's too many people doing it already, which I think ultimately there is a point where there's market saturation, and it'll be very difficult to launch a product if you don't really understand marketing and branding to differentiate yourself and really show how you're unique from the other options out there. Because once there becomes, hundreds of hemp food brands, then that's where I think branding really comes in to, position yourself in the market and show how you're different and unique. But you're definitely doing that, being a family-based business. You've got some really awesome formulas. But how can our listeners learn more about your products or get a hold of some of them? Do you have a physical storefront, or is it through your website? I know you're doing the farmers markets and whatnot. Share a little bit about how they can find you.
So HannaValley.com is our website. It's HANNA Valley.com. That is where all of our e-commerce obviously comes from. We're in around 25 different stores in Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, and we're starting to branch out. We also have something in the works that's going to branch us out a little bit more, so I can't share about that yet, but it's a pretty exciting step for us. So we're starting to, like I said, branch out just to different states and so forth. But if you are not in the area, you can definitely find us on our website.
Cool. And then as far as where your products are available on those retail outlets, is that something they can find on your website?
So we have different products at different store locations. So I haven't made a linked page because I didn't want to have a misconception of what is where. So if we have granola or protein or what sizes and so forth. So we typically have people contact us now for those locations. Some of our main ones are Campbell's Nutrition is our main health food store, Fresh Time Market, things like that around the area, Capital City Fruit. So some of those are different ways that you can get it around here, but also from a distance as well.
Right on. So if you could share with, the hemp entrepreneurs out there, one thing to inspire them today, for those listening, maybe give them a little more hope or courage to keep moving forward if they're struggling, to do something with hemp. What's one thing that they can do today, or just maybe a bit of advice that you'd share with other hemp entrepreneurs to keep doing what they're doing?
And just, it sounds cliche, but just do it. Like, don't let something stop you. Don't overthink it. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. There's never a time where you're ever going to feel ready, ever. I definitely would say that I have completely learned as I've gone. And the motto I've kind of lived by is like moving forward. There was at some points that I was moving forward so slow, but I was like, as long as I'm still moving the right direction, that's what matters. And I just, that's the mentality I had to keep. Otherwise, at some points it was crippling. Like I mentioned, I had gotten licensed in January 2020. Well, COVID hit 2 weeks after we got into our first store. And so that was a challenge that we had to go through. But instead of viewing it as, I could have just said, well, that's it, there's nothing we can do. But I really believe if you have a product that you believe in, and for me, I really believe through my faith that this is something that is it's almost like what's the word? Like I need to. This is like my job. This is what I have to bring to the world. And so with that and knowing that in my heart, like I know that I'm unstoppable. So I think
that's beautiful.
Just doing it, and if that's your faith at praying about it, I believe that's such a huge part of it. And to do it for the right reasons, like yes, I want to make an income, but more than anything, the more people I can reach, the bigger impact I can make and share my own story to help others. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, to kind of rephrase what you said or go off of that, I think what it comes down to is mindset. And they say faith is a feeling. And so if you can generate that feeling within yourself that you can do this, and that every challenge that you face has a seed of opportunity within it. And if you can just, rather than focus on the challenge and the problem, of course it's important to identify the problem or the challenge you're dealing with, not ignore it or try to run away from it, but actually look at it, say, okay, here's the problem, here's the challenge I'm dealing with, and ask yourself, where is the seed of opportunity here? What is it about this situation that's like a diamond under pressure? When you are under pressure, that's when beautiful things can happen, and it really causes you to have growth and to find a solution that can maybe not only help you, but help many other people. And so I think having that mindset is very essential, looking at the positive side of things, not being oblivious to the problems that you're dealing with or try to avoid them, but really face them and look for that seed of opportunity and tell your mind, here's my problem, but where's the solution? Where can I turn this into an opportunity for growth? And I think that's a huge thing for anybody in any business. And I know we started off by us talking about Jim Rohn and these great thinkers of the world, and it's no small task to start a business, but if you find a calling, something that you love and you're passionate about, and it is cliche, but they say do what you love and the money will come. I think it's true, and finding a way to do what you love that also solves problems for people. Because if you can solve problems, that's where the money is made. People every day are experiencing challenges or struggles, problems, pain, and if you can help relieve their pain, help them overcome their challenge, people are willing to pay for that. And so I think that's where the branding and marketing, any product comes in, is really speaking to your ideal customers, knowing what their problems are, and positioning your product as the solution. And I think you guys are doing a great job, and really appreciate the products that you're producing. And I'm so inspired by your story and what you're doing with your family. And I'm just so thankful to have you on the show. But if you have any last thoughts or any final comments, it's been great talking.
You too, Tyler. Thank you again for having me on the show, and I really hope that this does inspire someone that is listening today, because I just think there's a lot of hope, and hemp is a really great product, and so I think there's a lot of room for growth with that as well. And if you are listening, and you HannaValley.com is our website, but check us out on Instagram or Facebook, because we do a lot of recipes on there. We share updates. We do giveaways, things like that. So that would be a great way to get to know us as well.
Yeah, would that be at Hanna Valley Protein, or what are your handles on socials?
Yep, that's correct. Hanna Valley Protein for Instagram and also for Facebook.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this empowering hemp episode of HempAware Radio. This is your hemp-entrepreneurial host, as usual, Tyler Hemp, here to empower your hemposphere. We look forward to having you on the next show, and thanks again, Emily. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.